What's up, everybody? I have told a story on here now on a couple different videos about my treacherous twin and a kid he grew up with all the way back from early elementary school age, and how this kid betrayed him more than once. Basically, the kid snitched on him. My twin forgave him for snitching on him because they'd known each other for so long, just for the kid to betray him again. And I've told this story a couple times because it reminds me of the story of B Mickey and Meech, and basically how B Mickey has been playing both sides with Bryant and everything, setting Meech and his crew up to go to take L's and go to jail ultimately, before setting Meech up but letting him know right before Bryant and Veronica Jean crashed in and busted down the door to try to take Meech to jail. So I said this story because after the fact, being betrayed the second time by this particular friend, really the third time by this particular kid, it made my twin go back and think about other times when he had been set up and stolen from, or different things that has done happen, because you know a lot of things happen when you're in the game. It's like Boom told Meech in season 1, being in this game long enough, you're gonna take some L's. And definitely my twin took some L's being in his time in the game, and he had to go back and basically reevaluate some things and people that he done thought was involved in some of these things, and go back and wonder, was it this friend that so-called friend he done growing up with all the time since elementary school, who actually was involved in way more than what he actually thought the kid was involved in? Alright, so I said all that to say this. Going back all the way to season 1, one of the first few episodes of BMF, we saw Southwest T get shot, and that's what cost him his eye, why his eye is messed up and everything like that. And this is something that actually happened in real life. And in real life, they supposedly don't know who shot Southwest T, but if they did, I mean, what happens in the streets stays in the streets anyway. They're not gonna make it public, right? Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out if we will find out on BMF who was behind the gun in season 1 when Southwest T got shot, because it was initially blamed on J-Mo, and also they considered Lamar, who could have did it. And I'll get into that in a minute. But one person that I've heard a lot of people pointing the finger at and suspecting as the shooter in season 1, who tried to assassinate Southwest T when leaving Wanda's house, getting in his Benz, I think it was, is B Mickey. Alright, he's already done played both sides before. We know he's been a Judas now. Southwest T called him a Judas in episode 7. He plays both sides. So can we look at B Mickey now as someone who has basically been a Judas? You can't trust, a snaky type individual who only gonna look out for himself, because honestly the only reason he came clean to Meech about Kato, when he already been known about Kato, is because he expected that Meech knew about it, because Meech was talking to him about it. And basically he had to come clean to Meech because Meech already knew about it, and he would have got dealt with the same way Kato got dealt with if he hadn't come clean. So B Mickey is definitely not a character who can be trusted by Meech and Southwest T, either though Meech still somewhat trusts B Mickey. We got to go back into season 1 and look at how everything transpired. It was Meech and T and B Mickey. B Mickey basically under Meech and T, but he was next in charge after Meech and T. T gets shot, and J-Mo is immediately to blame for the shooting, because that was who they had beef with. He was the leader of the 12th Street crew before Lamar took over. And they had beef and everything because Southwest T they had a meeting during a basketball game And Southwest T pulled a gun on the 12th Street crew because he was the only one who was able to sneak a gun into the game, because he had someone from his school sneak it in ahead of time for him. So J-Mo and all them kind of had beef. They were beefing over territory and different things. So they had Bryant, while Bryant was still working for Meech, take J-Mo to meet up with Meech and B Mickey. And Meech starts beating up J-Mo and everything, asking him if he shot his brother. And J-Mo continually denied it, before B Mickey got fed up with what the whole situation was, and he shot J-Mo in the head and killed him without even having Meech's permission. So you gotta think that it could be possible. He said basically that Meech wasn't going to do it, and that he did what Meech should have did. But could it also be a possibility that he was trying to shut J-Mo up before he convinced Meech that he was not to blame, and before Meech started looking at somebody else who might be behind the gun? So he had J-Mo shot, and then when Meech came back and talked to Southwest T and told him what was going on, he had serious doubts that J-Mo was the one behind the gun. He said that J-Mo was scared of his own shadow. There's no way that J-Mo was the one who shot him. So that gets us to the scene where we see Lamar in the bathroom with Kato, telling her that she's gonna have to work for him and give up information about the 50 boys, Meech and T, and the whole crew. And after that little meeting, we see at the bowling alley Lamar step up, and they basically have two crews squaring off at the bowling alley. I think Meech says, I guess that's who is running 12th Street now. And Southwest T said, and that's probably who shot me. So from that time on, they expected that Lamar was actually the one who shot T. And that's a very good possibility. When Meech had shot Lamar at the end of season 1, before he ran off, he asked him a couple different times if he was the one who shot his brother. And obviously Lamar was bleeding out at the time and he couldn't speak, and then the cops were on the way, so B Mickey and Meech had to get out of there, and that's how Lamar actually survived. But he was trying to find out, he was trying to get Lamar to say whether or not he was the one who shot Terry. And if we can remember correctly, Lamar manipulated the whole situation to cause the beef between the 50 boys and J-Mo and everything, and just caused the whole confusion. He used his boy Slim to put the word out there on the streets to cause the beef so he could take over 12th Street. So of course Lamar is not going to back down and say he didn't shoot T, even if he wasn't the one who shot T. But we definitely have to consider that it might be B Mickey, and that Meech is loyal to B Mickey to a fault, because we hear in the upcoming trailer that Southwest T wants to get rid of B Mickey, because he says it's basically either B Mickey or him and Meech, because Bryant is on to him. He has that gun. So obviously T wants to go ahead and take out B Mickey. But we see in the trailer the tables turn, and B Mickey is actually pulling his strap on Southwest T. So that's what makes me got to think there's no turning back at this point. We know T's gonna survive. So I don't know what's gonna happen with B Mickey, but basically Meech said that they don't kill family, but they might have to, things might definitely change, especially if he walks in on B Mickey having that strap pointed at T. He might have no choice but to fire real quick and pull the strap and take out B Mickey in order to save his brother's life. Leave your thoughts in the comments, what you think's gonna happen with B Mickey, and who you think was the shooter of Southwest T in season 1.